Hello, everyone. With me are Benny and Scott from Indigiverse. Yeah, say hello. Before we start, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Kabrugal clan of Daruk Nation, and pay my respects to elders past and present. How are you good? How are you do guys today?
Good, brother. Good. Yeah, we're
Cool.
absolutely pumped. We're excited. It's been awesome year, and the year's gone so fast, and we've done so much as a team to bring to the world. This absolutely deadly universe called Indigiverse. So
It's a beautiful, beautiful introduction to a new universe. I think you guys are at the verge of creating something new in the pop culture altogether.
yeah, absolutely, brother. The pop culture scene, with I guess a lack of representation in this space, it opens up. It's an opportunity. I feel like not looking at it as a deficit, but as an opportunity to expand and explore and share and celebrate and preserve, a deadly rich culture here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
And brother, just before we kick into it, like Scotty and I are always really big on acknowledging country. We on too.
Absolutely.
So brother, where we are here, I'm on Ngunnawal country here in Canberra. Shout out to Ngunnawal people here, and want to acknowledge the elders, past, to present, and emerging, and also want to acknowledge their ongoing connection to this land, their culture, and their community. So always was and always will be Ngunnawal country. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll over to you, Scotty, brother.
Yeah, and I'm here on the northwest of Western Australia, in what people know as the Kimberley. But I'm also blessed and grateful to be on Yaru Barnda. So when you say Barnda, we mean the land that I'm on today, which is the Yaru people. And I'd like to extend acknowledgement to all Yaru mob that might be listening today, because I feel so blessed to have grown up on this beautiful country here that still has its language and it's still being spoken and shared. And I extend that to also old elders, past and present. And, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. And so without them and all the work that they've done, we wouldn't have the language that is still spoken here today. So, big shout out, and feeling blessed.
Absolutely. I learned two words in Daruk. Worimi ingani.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Good word.
Which means welcome.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
But you could have said anything to us then, we wouldn't know. We would be thoroughly could have been telling us that we look like a pair of goats.
Yeah. Oh, gold. That's gold.
Yeah, but language is such a big part of this book. Gunyandi is the language, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
That's it.
Yeah, I loved all the linguistic references you gave at the end, and also the cues while reading the book. It was lovely. How did you come about it?
Yeah, so that's my language. So from my people in the northwest of Western Australia. So Gooniyandi language comes from, I wouldn't say Mulija, but Mulija is a community where my family are from, and Fossil Dam Station is the station there where my grandmother was born. And the language goes back all the way to what we call Painted Rock, Mungurunga, which is Painted Rock. And that's where my great-grandmother was born, in the cave there. And,
Right.
and all that, and it's so close, and we talk about that, and we share that as my great-grandmother was born in a cave, and my grandmother was born under a tree on my country. My mother was born in a native hospital, segregated from everyone else, and now I'm the first, alongside my siblings and cousins, to be born in a hospital that isn't segregated. And so the language, is still there, and it's still strong, and it's still accessible. And so we're on that journey of learning, and it's been my kind of utilization of writing the comic book to actually support my journey of learning, while simultaneously trying to empower other people to learn as well. And so Benny and I have this huge belief of we can't just do something by itself. It must be interconnected with other things that we impact on. So we can't just help ourselves. We must also help our people around us. And so this is a stepping stone, to do that, start doing that. And so Benny and his language as well, this is just a tool for us to share that and also empower other people to start learning it and value it, in pop culture as well, and through pop culture. And so Guniandi language is throughout it. But I think one of the burning questions that everyone would have is it just going to be Guniandi language? And I'm here to say that no, it's just the beginning. So that we want to start here with consultation with my people, my uncle and my cousin, which you could see at the back of the book, TJ Warrigal, and also my uncle Robert Brooking, who were the language consultants on the book, and we want to be able to do that across Australia, wherever we take the stories, and if the stories is inspired by the people from different areas. So it's just the beginning.
That's awesome. And I think that's also a testament to how rich the indigenous culture is, right? There's like so many different kinds of stories. Every region has their own values and culture and language. It's so rich in itself. It's just exactly.
And that's what makes I guess what's unique, because when I look at I guess I think what is Viking culture and that, and Asgard and Thor and Loki, and that, it's like one story for the whole country. Whereas when you look at our culture, their creation story is different to our creation story, is different to their creation story. There might be some similarities that travel through it, like a snake or a creation being or sorts, or the way that there was but within that group, there is a unique story of dreaming for that mob because of their totems, their lore, the landscape, and what come out that landscape, and what was come out of all that. So we have an endless amount of the abilities, and the only place I've ever seen that similarities are like Native American, Native Canadians, Indian culture.
Yeah,
they're all that you go different areas.
Yeah.
They have a different view, a different vibe, a different, even the food they eat's different. It's spicier, or like, it's like a different thing. They dress in a different, their weapons are different, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what we're exploring in our dreaming.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because, this is for real. Like a couple of years ago, I was actually trying to look for comic books or superheroes, or any stories in comic form that are indigenous. All I could find like one or two stories maybe, but not too many of them. So we need more. We need more.
They've been integrated into like this. There was a superhero called Gateway who kind of popped up in a couple of Marvel episodes, and I think his kids were like Bishop and his daughter and his sister, which were apparently Aboriginal as well. I didn't even know they were Aboriginal till I didn't even know Bishop was Aboriginal, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I used to watch his dude on cartoons, man.
By the way.
He didn't even sound Aboriginal, man. The dude was just jumping around like sound American, African American, like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know this was Gateway's kids, like that kind of thing, like Gateway's grandkids or some jazz. So even when the narrative of us being in comics was there, the portrayal of us, bro, man, it was some unga bunga shit, man. Like, it was so it was so bad, man. The way they made us sound and look and vibe, like we're all tribal, man. Like we all walking around didgeridoos and spears, like. Bro, my son's got $400 Jordans. You know what I mean? Like, Aboriginals look different today, man. We look different today, man. You feel me? Like, it's a different day,
And that's, and that's where when we're going into issue 2, we start exploring that in a big way. And so, it's like this evolution. I think there's nothing, when we talk about past, present, and future as part of our ideologies, it's not separate from each other. It's coexisting at once. And so that's why the whole traditional aspect, like traditional painting, traditional stuff, no, that's like painting. That's how, that's the stuff that we bring forth, into now contemporary, into all this stuff and the evolution of it. And so with issue 2 coming very soon, is that you start to see how the dreaming and how it exists in the city. It's not separate to when you go out like, oh, only dreaming out in remote areas. No, the dreaming still exists when even amongst the buildings, amongst concrete jungle. You know, it's still here. The people are still there. And so we wanted to share that kind of flip. So issue 1, we had a big hit straight out in the bush with our elder protector, Warnu, and sharing, yeah, exactly, right there. And then now we go into Adam Hart, is well, the future of protecting the law that's in the city and is growing up amongst all of this. And there's a lot of stuff, a backstory for him, but I don't want to share just yet.
Oh yeah, don't spoil it. Yeah, without going into spoilers, I think the book takes a pretty drastic turn when Adam comes into picture. At least issue 1 takes a pretty drastic turn.
Yeah.
You know, we love the unpredictableness of things. Yeah, like, so it's just, it's got in our nature. You know, we're not just trying to make villains. We're trying to make villains people fall in love with, and they're like, I rep that villain, man. I vibe that villain. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we spoke, like, we look at all these villains in comics. We hate them. We hate them for what they represent.
Exactly.
But we want you to fall in love with our villains, man. You know,
and
their humanity and they just kind of effed up nature. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we want. You know. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's
just
exactly
like
what.
Sorry.
No, you go. You're right. You go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying like how that flipped with Thanos and the story of, you know,
exactly what I was saying.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like Thanos changed the game, right? For writing villains, because so his mission was so noble despite his actions not being so noble, right? So that makes him a cut above any other villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I also love Shane. How do I pronounce the Marvel one? Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Yeah.
Shang-Chi. Again, father, just total prick, but you get to see this complex relationship, you know, between a father and a son.
Yeah.
And it's the story of, you know, it despite its origins, its cultural origins, it's the story of a lot of fathers and sons out there. Yeah. A strained relationship between loss, and it's kind of, you know, we get that, we vibe that. So we want to create these villains that you fall in love with, that you follow. We want to break hearts. We want people to invest their love and emotion into these characters, and then just, like, you know, see you later. And why? I'll never forget that issue. I'll never forget the issue. You know, it's like watching Opie die out of Sam Crow, out of Sons of Anarchy. Sorry for those. If you haven't seen Sons of Anarchy by now, like, just get off the train. But it's like the day you see Opie, and it's like, I can't live without Opie. You know?
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah. And, you know, despite all the that's exactly what a good story does. Despite coming from a very different culture, very different setting, it connects you at the human level, and, you know, that's what makes a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, brother, 100%.
Cool.
Yeah. Now I was just thinking about you know, if we had a multiverse, right? Where actually you started with the villain story to show that actually Batman was the villain, you know, like if Joker, you know, like you could actually set, because once you go into their backstory and the context of where they are and what they want to do, you start to see this like a whole different side of our villain. So a villain doesn't know he's a villain, you know, he's just out there to actually do what he set out to do. And, you know, and it all is contextualized through their growing up or stuff that's happened to them. And so, you know, but we always start off with the hero story where we're just like, oh, not sure what's happening. So, and that's what you get with issue 1 with Malami, you know,
Yeah.
and where he comes out of the blue, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, we wanted more about the story of Malami." Like, I'm like, well, that's to come. That it's going to unfold, unravel, and come back in where Malami is this character that's, yeah, much like how Benny described it, was this villain that you'll come to understand what he's trying to do, and whether or
Yeah.
not you choose between, oh, I love what he's trying to do and I want to back him, but I know that it's going to be in consequence to all of these other things.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And I think you guys set it up really well. It kind of feels like he's a villain who has a larger mission, and that mission is yet to come. And I am definitely looking forward to the awakening and enforcing of the lore.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and so my uncle, who's a lawman, and I was talking to him when I was out on country this week, and what was crazy is, so the awakening is actually a different term that a lot of them have used for being activated.
Hmm.
So when you go through or get ready to actually go through your own rite of passage, it's often you have to be activated in some sense of knowing that you're ready, to actually start that. Often people don't, and they actually go through it without that. Others actually feel that activation, and my uncle always said, oh, you've been activated, to do these things. And and so it's like this showing that, oh, what is your activation, and it's called to action. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is
How did you come with the Varnu character? Like, why does he go through that whole thing in issue 1? I don't want to get into spoilers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So just so everyone knows that I guess Wanu is actually inspired by my grandfather, Wanu, and he's and so most of the elder protectors, there's more than one out there that will reveal over the course of these series. But Warnu, I think, opens itself to another story and stories that share what happens before issue 1 of Dark Art. And we wanted to share this real a kind of essence of mob elders back on country that actually are still living in that kind of lore, and actually continuing that lore, and actually transferring it, and still back on country doing that.
Mm,
And there's other ways of doing that across Australia where mob are still, living their, working their job, and then still going out and actually continuing that connection to country. While with Warnu, he out on country and he there all the time. And
yeah.
he knows and he knows all this stuff. And I had his values of actually continuing the law, and
Yep.
making sure that it stays there, it's enforced. I'm going to stand by this fire and make sure that it is going to continue, and make sure that we protect with this power, and the responsibility to save not only Aboriginal people but all people. And he was ruthless, and he's like, because he grew up with all of these mamus, these ancestral beings. And my grandfathers used to always talk about, just down by the river, they used to see the mamus that was there, and they never used to let us go anywhere alone.
Yeah.
They would always sleep with us with the river, making sure that they protect, and they sing their song, protect us, all that kind of stuff. And so I wanted that to resemble and share that whole character, and that really exists, and still exists.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And also, I think, like you said, these things, like the stories that your grandfather told you, and uh, about mamus, and all these characters, bringing them to life in the form of a book is actually preserving that culture as well,
Yeah.
and passing it on to next generation, and making it known wider, wider than yourself. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. I think Benny and I, we want to get to a point where a young person in Kazakhstan, right? will be like sitting at home and reading an Indigiverse comic book, where they know about the First Nations peoples of Australia, and be like, hey, they do exist. Or even going to, anywhere in Europe and saying, oh, I'm First Nations from Australia, and them, oh, are you, and name your language group or name a language group, and be like, oh, are you from these mob, Bunjalang mob, or you from Mambabram, or oh, we
Yeah.
read that in the comic book, we've seen it, in the clothing that people are wearing,
Yeah.
we've seen it on television, we've seen it everywhere, and that's what the point we're going to get to. And if someone in Europe knows about the culture and all the richness of that we still have here, then they'll also know the fight and the continuing fight for against all the issues that we are facing as well, and therefore might encourage and inspire more support internationally for a lot of the issues our people are facing here. And so there's a lot of things that it's growing into this ecosystem, and so that we can connect with people that want to support and help our people, and also bring people on the journey with us as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I hope this gives a wider voice to the First Nations people, like you said, across the globe. Did your Kickstarter did you do a Kickstarter for this one?
Yeah, brother, we oh, sorry, Scotty. No, we self-funded this. For Scotty and I, we kind of got a when we were pretty not sure about how to kind of pull resources together for this, but Scotty and I own several businesses, and we were able to pull enough together to go, look, let's invest in this industry and rack up a few comics.
Yeah.
We look, Kickstarters was something we got interested in the second or third round, I think, of funding, like in the third book. And we found that really beneficial. We got a really good following, really good support out of that. So I guess we're also looking at ways in how we structure, just the way that we structure our contracts with our artists and coloring artists, so that when we make $1 as the owners of the Indigiverse, and that they make $1, and they're not just contracted in to do a job, but they make an ongoing sort of percentage of profits on the IP of what they've created with us. And we don't just extend that to the IP, we also have extended that to marketing material as well. So and this is where, brother, we see a downfall in the industry, right? As creatives, we see the brilliance of these artists used, and the way that these contracts are created, right, is that the big companies could take their IP, their ideas and knowledge, and just put it on whatever and make millions off of it. And they don't see any kind of like income off that. They don't see any kind of like unless you're a top level, you know what I mean? Like
I know, yeah, exactly.
At a certain level, an artist. But we kind of going like, we don't care what level you're at. If you do business with us, we want you to win from start to finish. And me and Scotty have always focused on the way we want to treat our creatives at the beginning. And if they feel that they are getting everything and some, they will want to continue to work with us on future projects. And we want to create that culture. And we just really, look, we come from a culture, brother, where our people were just used for their creativity.
Yeah.
And they were paid nothing. They were their old ideas stolen. Production companies would take their stories, or the authors would take their stories and put them in books, make millions of them, or hundreds of thousands, and never see that wealth generation go back into the community or the original IP owners. Yeah. So for us, we know what that feels like. So we understand what the artists how they feel. So by structuring this differently, it gives us that open door to other options.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just on that.
Yeah, that's such an amazing and noble mission, And like also something that's very, very rare in the comic book industry. I know for sure, like some of the really big publishers, even if there are a lot of publishers who are big and still indie, but they're like, I don't know how they're indie because they're big, but yeah,
Well,
they also don't pay royalties to their artists, and those kind of things. They just pay them a flat fee, or like a
yeah,
lot of times
and
they don't even get paid at all. So
and 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 we kind of get it, right. Like we get it, right. Like you're big, you can do what you want. It doesn't mean you have to do it, right?
Yeah.
You like if we could just show a steady growth in business in a
Yeah.
way that artists can make more money out of this, and there's a more of a shared appreciation for and respect
yeah,
for their craft, then we just want that reputation within the community of artists, right? We just want that reputation and want to be known for that. Scotty and I have always done things differently. We've got TV shows in development over here with ABC and NITV, and Scotty just we pitched our third one. Scotty's just crushed it, right? So for us, right, like we always structured things differently just to see other people win out of it. And like I guess I'm just reading a text message, sorry, from my brother-in-law, and said,
that's all right.
I just saw Black Adam. That shit's legit. I was just like, bro, what planet? What planet? You know what I mean? I was like, why do I want to look at a budget? But like Marvel's already shown us Adam, and you know what I mean, and Doctor Strange and all that. I don't need some DC version of it, man. Like, give me something different, man. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
Come on, man, give me something different, bro. Like, come on, man. And like
true.
The Rock had 2 facial expressions. I think the whole thing, man. Like, it was like it was I look mad, and then I look madder. You know what I mean? It was just like it was
And throw an eyebrow up. Eyebrow. Oh, change.
like,
The Rock changed face. Oh, we'll go this way.
yeah. Right.
Nah.
Yeah.
You have to admit,
Now,
though,
if
the
you're
guy's
watching
got
this, The
charm.
Rock, we love you. We love you, The Rock.
We love you, Rock. We love
No,
you, Rock. We love
he's
you, Rock.
very
Man,
charming. He's very charming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard out.
No, have you seen Hobbs and Shaw? He's the one from
Yeah.
yeah. I
I
love
love
when
that.
I love when they do the Samoan haka. It's so good.
Yeah.
Legit. Yeah.
That's
No, it's
legit,
good.
bro.
You know what? Like having that integration of that culture in there, it's just so deadly. It's revolutionary. Like Prey. You guys watch Prey?
So good.
Absolutely. I have to say this, and even my mom, she's like, still the movie this year that's the best, and it's not being biased or anything. She said was Prey, like legit, like in terms of
How did they not go to cinema with that? They just went straight to stream. Like,
yeah.
they would have crushed.
Yeah,
crushed
This is a
the
good
movies,
movie.
bro.
They went to cinemas with a very
So good, bro.
very badly made Predator movie. Why couldn't have they gone with this
that's
one, right?
true. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But like when you break down the film, is like I was watching it, and when they look at the herbal remedies and all those kind of stuff, and even instead of showing like, oh, we just built a rope, and they show, oh, we built it from that tree, and then they show them with a rope. No, they show them actually peeling back and actually creating that, and see those little stuff with what the director did with that was just so powerful,
Yep.
and to show that, oh, these are the things, that's how they actually did it, and how they do things, and
Yeah.
how they still do today, and that's the kind of stuff when we're at that point where we're directing our films and we're doing that to actually make sure that these little finer details are just the things that make movies and series even better,
Yes, they make it look so more authentic. It is just makes it very, very authentic, and that's actually part of what people connect with the authenticity of the setting, characters, when they look real.
100, bro. 100.
100.
We got sidetracked. You were talking about something, and Black
We
Adam.
were talking
Yeah.
about something like,
Like,
oh
right.
yeah, we were talking about
Absolutely.
creatives, man, and looking after creatives and plugging and it just saying how awesome we are, like around money and shit. Like we act like there's millions of dollars rolling. It's not that sort of thing, right? But look, you know what? Someone told me, right? Like someone told me, like if you could do the right thing with $5, man, you can be trusted with the 5 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we want to do right now, like it's artists may not make a killing in this right where we at right now, but we have sort of ambitious plans. We want to see every copy sell between 5 to 10,000, and people go, that's crazy, man. Like, hey, Scotty, remember when we sat down and we went to Wolf and who was it? Wolf and Gary, man. Gary's a crazy artist, man. So good.
Nice.
We would sit down and I said, hey, bro, 10,000 each copy. Is that ambitious for us? And Gary and Wolf look at each other like, yeah, bro, this is pretty ambitious, right? I'm like, all right, man, just so I get a vibe. What's the best you've done and how many? And they're like, it's like there was this one copy we heard sold for like 7,000. And I was like, oh no, man, we need that 10 mark, right? But then when we mapped it out, like we've been doing deals with all of these like music festivals and events, and including our comic in their registration packs, we're selling like, and there's like a 5,000 attendee, that's a 25,000 person conference, like now we're starting to hit real numbers. So we want to see that flow back into our artists, man, when we sign these deals and things like that. But for us,
That's
right,
amazing.
it's like if we could do right with the $5, man, that we make to our artists, we believe like the world has a way of trusting us with the 5 mil to do right by artists,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's
and,
so amazing. So you were saying, Scotty?
Oh, and I was going to say, and also like to wrap it up, is that be the change you want to see in the world. And I know that sounds fluffy, and stuff like that, but that is the absolute truth. We're moving into a space where things can be done differently and can be done in the sense of being unconventional, and I think there's there's a poem that says there's two roads diverge in wood and I chose the one less traveled by, and that had made all the difference. And and it's going down these roads where there is no trail, but leaving a trail, for us. And so that's the whole point of all of this.
Exactly. Slight segue. That's exactly why I'm doing this podcast and building the website that I'm trying to build. So we're building kind of like a new way to both crowdfund and sell comics online. Distribution is a huge part of it, and it's solely for indie creators and indie publishers. It doesn't no big guys there, So we want indies to punch above their weight, just go and challenge the big guys. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And brother, like what Scotty, like Scotty and I, right? We were just surprised that the non-indigenous take up on this, bro. Like we thought our mob would come out and support it, bro. But the non-indigenous vibe, right? And what that taught us, right, was simply that for all of our best plans of marketing and that, there's always an X factor, bro, that just blesses you on the journey, man. Like that X factor just comes in and goes push and pushes you past that, like to your dreams, right? Scotty and I always ask him, man, like, how do we do things differently? Like, we got this saying, man, dream big, aim small, and we never miss. We want to dream big up here and just talk about all the big stuff, right? We never want to discourage the big dream and stuff, right? Because it was only 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, hey Scotty, where I met Scotty and we were sitting in a cafe And he had that backpack on he's got in the background up at the wall. Yeah, he had his Captain America backpack, right? We coffee, man. And we was talking, and this is when I first met him. We were talking about him coming and doing some training and like that. And then next minute, it was like 5 minutes we were talking about what the business meeting was there for. But it was like 3 hours talking about other stuff, all this stuff. Let's make movies. Let's do TV shows. Let's do comic books. And neither of us was discouraging or tempering the other's dreams with reality. That's how we knew we was that right, because we had people around us in our world, brother, tempering our dreams, our like, hey, listen, reality is, and me Scotty like, yeah, all right, whatever. Hey, bro, imagine if we did this, imagine if we did that, let's make TV shows, bro. And if we did a comic and then it came into a TV show, bro.
Yeah.
So 4 years later, we got 3 TV shows in development with 3 broadcasters. One of them derives itself from one of our comics Scotty wrote. We got nearly a bestseller comic that's gone live, sold out at every Comic-Con 4 years later, brother.
That's amazing.
We started we're building a massive facility in Perth, man. It takes hydrogen waste and turns it into hydrogen fuel, bro, so they can stop putting rubbish into our cultural lands, right?
Nice.
This was 4 years ago, man. Only 4 years. So people thinking ahead, what can I achieve? What can I achieve? I'm gonna tell you now, man. We started with nothing but pipe dreams and a bit of capital, bro. Like not a lot, man. People think we had $10,000, bro. We started with that capital.
Yeah.
And bang, right?
Yeah.
Man, like our company went from that to that,
Wow.
So that dream big and aim small is what's one small step today that I can take. And if I accomplish that step today, I'm one step closer to my dream. I never miss them. I'm always on target. I'm always on site, right? So we do that today, right? We did that today. Once dream big, aim small, one step, and we never miss our dream.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Awesome.
Gotcha, bro.
So yeah, I think that's that whole. Yeah, I love that. I follow exactly the same philosophy. I dream big and take small steps, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. Like build a community of artists, and and it's all about being authentic and really helpful. And I really love that indie community is, despite everything, they don't compete with each other. They actually have each other's back. So yeah,
that's it.
That's something, brother. That's something that blew me away, right? About the comic community. Yeah, Scotty and I come into our respective fields, and it's really competitive. Yeah, it's competitive. So we tried to create this culture of we collaborate, we complement each other rather than compete against each other. When we find ways to complement each other, we can actually grow in business. That's like just good stats. But what threw me out, man, like as in a good way, is the love, man, that the Wolfgangs, the Garys, the Katies, the whole community. And what's the other brother there, man?
Justin and Trev Wood.
Trev Wood. The way these dudes come out the industry, bro, and showed us mad love. For Scotty and I, we never forget that, man. So when we rise, we take our brothers with us and our sisters. To us, their love and that I'm not here to compete, man. I just want to see you win, bro. I want to see you win. That did something here to me, man. Right here to my heart.
Absolutely. Like when we come back from Comic-Con, we have like Jamie Johnson, who does a lot of all the
legend.
yeah, absolutely amazing. You know, coming around and always just you know, supporting, wanting to get our comics, you know, and we go over there and it is that community, you know, and it's just absolutely crazy. Like Andrew Constance, you know, we have Jake Bartok, we have so much deadly when you go down the artist alley as well at Comic and
Yeah.
find these amazing people that
Mm.
you know, are sharing their deadliness basically to the world and how deadly they are, you know, and then to go there and then they're deadly as well, you know, in person, and it's just like it's just this huge network of deadly people, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I think Comic Con, like Oz Comic Con, has this way of providing the space, and the people there are so lovely.
Mm.
Um, and like the space where you can be what you want to be. You know, you can go there. There's no judgment. There's no nothing. You can go into the space and recreate yourself, get amongst the pop culture and the stuff that we love and the creative goodness that is in the world. You know, and that's what I love about Oz Comic Con and you know, or like Comic Cons in general as well. Just
Yeah.
being able to go to a space where there's no judgment. You
No
know,
judgment at all.
everything can coexist.
I mean, you guys took me seriously, and I was wearing a Superman costume, you know?
No, well, yeah, no, that's the most like that's the brilliant thing about it. You know, imagine if the world was like what you experience at Comic Con. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
Oh man,
that's
I got to shout out to Big Tim Styles too, man. Like he's,
yeah,
you know, that's another comic. Phantom, Andrew, is it Andrew?
yeah. Andrew Constant, yeah,
I was constant, man. Like big shout out to these artists, man. Jamie, like these dudes, man, have shown nothing but love to Scott and I, bro. We nothing, man. Like we, bro, you know what I mean? Like we
yeah,
just some fresh, like man. Honestly, we just some fresh fish on the block, man. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like fresh
yeah.
fish on the block, man, and they've shown us nothing but absolute love and shown us the game, man. So
Yeah.
I just got nothing but love and adoration for these peeps, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
Like,
was actually like when I was working on my comic a couple of years ago, I actually was collaborating with an artist who was from Nigeria, and
Oh wow,
yeah, he totally brought his A game into, like, just giving suggestions and
yeah,
like all sorts of creative inputs, which is so amazing. And then like yesterday I was chatting with another creator from United States, and he was working with some artists from Argentina,
yeah,
and he was saying like the stories become richer with these artists because like
yeah,
he never thought he would put like a bodega in his book, and
yeah,
suddenly he has that, and it makes the story better, all the more better, so yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, like it's like, and that's what I think one of the biggest things as well. Like as Benny was sharing before, in terms of, you know, we want to look after the creatives and make sure they come on that journey not just as a contracted person, but because they're bleeding themselves onto the page. You know, and
Exactly.
it's a part of them on the page. And if you look at the illustrations, like for Dark Art and Katie Hollywood, right, you can see it. And I think the essence of you know, a lot of the storytelling comes out with how she actually does her illustrations, you know, and the flowing nature of it, which shares the flow of what, you know, we know the dreaming to be, you
Yeah.
know. And so thing, but I also wanted just to share, you know, tell God if people are looking at for awesome artists that have been, you know, thing from Gestalt Comics, they
Mm,
actually have a book where all those artists that we named are all in here, and they've illustrated specific sections of the Telgard series. And so,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
big shout out, following Benny's shout out as well.
Do share the links, and we'll put them in the description on YouTube and everywhere on
Yeah.
thank you,
socials.
brother.
Cheers, Bala.
Good stuff. Awesome. We're coming to time, and I'm conscious that it's late night for all of us. I want
Yeah,
all of you to have a good rest of your evening. So thank you so much for coming.
Appreciate it, brother.
yeah,
No
thanks,
worries at all. I'm too small a fish here, but I you guys are royalty.
Bala.
Nah, bro, nowhere near it, brother. I appreciate you making the time, giving some spotlight on us as artists and creators and producers and stuff, brother. Listen, you know, that from that big dream, big aim, small never miss, man. This is we love the grassroots community of indie stuff, bro. That's us. Grassroots community always.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Words to live by, and you know, get the issue 1 and pre-order issue 2.
Yeah,
yes, please.
Indigiverse.au. You know, I think I would much rather order online because Wolfgang, he just takes so much pride and love in putting the box together, putting the stickers on it.
I love it.
He makes sure it's so beautiful and like it's just you want to get this box, you know.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
Yeah.
I
So
always
issue
love
2,
when somebody puts
pre-orders.
that extra care in comics
Oh.
because there's
Well, Wolfgang gets a ruler when the web page comes up. He gets the ruler and he puts it next to the side of the computer and he measures it all the way down and he goes, "It's good to go." Like he's the attention to detail. We can make fun of him because he's not on here, but he'll probably hear this. The attention to detail for our brother, man. That's why he's successful, man. The attention to detail, man. He's second to none, man. Second to none.
We should get him on the chat as well once, you know.
100%, brother. Get him on.
100%.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for your time, both of you. I really appreciate it.
Big love, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Thanks.